From allies to anxieties, a tense turn in Philippines-China relations. In the 1970s, the Philippines became one of the first Southeast Asian nations to formally recognize the People's Republic of China, opening a new chapter in bilateral diplomacy. What began as cautious engagement soon blossomed into decades of economic cooperation, cultural exchanges, and high-level visits. By the early 2000s, China had become one of the Philippines' largest trading partners, investing in infrastructure, education, and agriculture. But beneath the smiles and handshakes, a different game was quietly unfolding, one rooted in surveillance, cyber operations, and political influence. The early 2010s saw growing concerns about Chinese influence operations in Philippine universities and telecom networks. In 2018, reports surfaced of potential cyber intrusions into Philippine government agencies, allegedly traced back to Chinese-linked entities. While both nations publicly downplayed these incidents, intelligence circles were growing uneasy. Beijing's expanding regional footprint, not only through hard power but also through information operations, began raising alarm bells in Manila. Fast forward to 2025, and the once careful dance of diplomacy now teeters on suspicion and tit-for-tat retaliation. The arrest of 3 Filipinos in China, accused of espionage, has jolted Manila. Although Chinese media claims the individuals confessed to spying for the Philippine Intelligence Agency, Philippine officials argue they're innocent civilians and hint that this may be Beijing's payback for recent Philippine crackdowns on Chinese operatives. On April 5th, 2025, China dropped a diplomatic bombshell. State-run China Daily reported the arrest of 3 Filipino nationals, claiming they were caught red-handed in a covert intelligence operation. Citing unnamed officials from China's Ministry of State Security, the report alleges that the individuals were working directly for Philippine intelligence, tasked with extracting classified military information from sensitive installations in southern China. Even more explosive, Chinese authorities say the suspects have confessed to their roles during interrogation. While the full details remain murky, sources close to the investigation told China Daily that the trio allegedly used encrypted messaging apps and concealed recording devices to spy on military logistics hubs. Chinese media outlets have framed the case as a textbook example of foreign infiltration. The tone is not just accusatory, it's strategically charged, signaling that Beijing is ready to push back harder against what it perceives as a growing intelligence war in its own backyard.
中方有关部门已经公布了菲律宾籍在华人员从事间谍活动的具体情况。中国司法机关和有关部门严格依法办案，也将保障有关人员的合法权益。近期，菲律宾方面炮制多起所谓中国间谍案，在事实不清的情况下，大搞有罪推定和污名化、政治化，中方坚决反对，并多次提出严正交涉。中方敦促菲方停止捕风捉影、乱扣帽子，依法公正处理涉及中国公民的个案，切实保障在菲中国公民的合法权益。
In a swift and firm rebuttal, the Philippine National Security Council, NSC, has dismissed China's espionage allegations as baseless and deeply alarming. NSC spokesperson Jonathan Malaya identified the 3 arrested individuals as former beneficiaries of a bilateral scholarship program, which stemmed from a long-standing academic and cultural cooperation agreement between Hainan and Palawan provinces. Far from being covert agents, Malaya insisted the detainees are ordinary Filipino citizens with no military training, no criminal records, and no link whatsoever to espionage activities. Malaya revealed that the individuals had entered China legally at the invitation of the Chinese government and were even screened and vetted by Chinese immigration and host institutions before arrival. If there was any threat, why were they allowed in? He challenged.
We have to be very careful about what's happening. Alam nyo naman po, Hindi naman ito yung unang time na meron tayong ganitong issue with China. And
Yeah.
they have their own version of events, right?
Oo.
In,
Yes, yes,
in,
yes.
in, in everything that happens in Baho de Masinloc and especially in Ayungin Shoal, there's always this element of propaganda to show to the world an image, no? And signals to the rest of the world from Beijing. So we're taking this very delicately.
According to the NSC, the arrest appears to be part of a disturbing pattern, a retaliatory move, possibly connected to Manila's recent clampdown on suspected Chinese spies operating in the Philippines. This is not just about 3 citizens, Malaya added. It's about the weaponization of diplomacy and the safety of innocent Filipinos abroad. Though officials on both sides have avoided drawing a direct line to maritime tensions, the geographical context is impossible to ignore. The provinces of Hainan, China, and Palawan, Philippines, sit on opposite sides of the contested South China Sea, a crucial maritime corridor, where the geopolitical temperature has been rising steadily. Over the past 2 years, the waters between them have become a theater of repeated confrontations, from water cannon incidents and shadowing of vessels, to diplomatic protests and naval standoffs. As both nations assert overlapping claims, suspicion has deepened not just at sea, but in cyberspace, academia, and now, espionage. This proximity makes Hainan-Palawan exchanges both strategic and sensitive. What was once hailed as a symbol of soft diplomacy, academic, and cultural linkages now finds itself under intense scrutiny. In such a volatile environment, even student exchanges can be recast as potential threats, and mutual distrust threatens to turn ordinary cooperation into high-stakes gambits. With tensions in the region already simmering, the arrests may be the latest flashpoint in an expanding arena of rivalry between 2 uneasy neighbors navigating a sea of suspicion.
This information are very dangerous. We consider them very dangerous to national security.
As the diplomatic dust swirled around the spy arrests, Philippine National Security Council spokesperson Jonathan Malaya didn't mince words during a press briefing. This is not just about 3 citizens caught in the wrong place, Malaya stated firmly. We believe this may be a direct retaliation. We've arrested multiple Chinese agents here. This looks like payback. In the past 3 months, the Philippines has quietly detained at least a dozen Chinese nationals, some posing as businessmen or students. According to intelligence reports, these individuals were caught illegally gathering sensitive data on military camps, communication hubs, and critical energy infrastructure, targets that could compromise Manila's national security and defense posture if exposed.
The configuration of the yung ating naval base, kitang-kita po dun sa drone nila. No? So, of course, this information are very dangerous. We consider them very dangerous to national security. Dahil, of course, pagka napunta po ito sa ibang kamay, yung mga information na ito, this could be very dangerous for our personnel in the base and also those on board our ships. There are more of them. And that is why well, this is the reason why we are coming out with this information. Is because we want our Filipino members of society to be aware that these things are happening, and so that they can help us monitor and that they can report any suspicious activities that they believe are connected to spying or the ISR activities to any of the authorities. This is perhaps just the tip of the iceberg. Marami pa ho tayong pwedeng mahuli na mga ganitong activities. No? And we are in the process of also building up the intelligence against these other activities.
A senior defense official, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed, "Some were mapping out terrain near military facilities. We intercepted encrypted communications. This wasn't harmless. While the Philippines has taken legal action through its judicial system, its officials now worry that Beijing is responding in kind, but outside the bounds of due process. It's troubling," Malaya added. "We screen our arrests with evidence, These 3 Filipinos were students, vetted and cleared by China itself. Now they're suddenly spies. Behind closed doors, Philippine intelligence sources warn of a widening shadow war, where surveillance, counterintelligence, and psychological operations are becoming tools of quiet conflict, with civilians increasingly caught in the crossfire. At the heart of the region's rising tensions lies China's sweeping territorial claims over nearly the entire South China Sea, demarcated by the controversial 9-dash line. These claims overlap with the exclusive economic zones, EEZs, of several Southeast Asian nations, including the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia. In 2016, a landmark ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague decisively rejected China's maritime claims, siding with the Philippines, and affirming that Beijing's actions had no legal basis under international law. Yet, Beijing flatly refused to recognize the ruling, continuing to expand its presence through militarized artificial islands, aggressive Coast Guard patrols, and gray zone tactics. The result? A region caught in a delicate and dangerous balance between international law and hard power. The arrest of 3 Filipinos in China has done more than spark diplomatic concern. It has deepened the already widening rift between Manila and Beijing, with both sides presenting conflicting narratives, one of confessed spies, the other of innocent scholars. The incident has laid bare the deep mistrust festering beneath the surface of official diplomacy, as the South China Sea continues to serve as both a literal and symbolic battleground. Even seemingly unrelated events, like academic exchanges, are now cast under the long shadow of suspicion. Whether this episode marks a new phase of strategic retaliation, or just another turn in a long history of uneasy coexistence, one thing is clear: trust between the 2 nations is eroding fast, and in the Indo-Pacific, that erosion has real consequences. Thank you for tuning in to our channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global issues.